All right, these live visuals are now coming in from Abu Dhabi, where the temple is being inaugurated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is with the leaders of the sect, in fact the Swaminarayan sect. The BAPS temple is being inaugurated there. You can see the Prime Minister along with some of the leaders and of the Swaminarayan sect. Now this, in fact, the event today, this moment taking place in Abu Dhabi, the biggest and the first temple, Hindu temple in UAE is being inaugurated, and the Prime Minister is going to be part of the consecration ceremony. And then, of course, as my colleague Maria was just telling us a short while back, that the Prime Minister would be talking and to the artisans and others, those who have in fact contributed in the construction of this temple. A lot of people from the Indian diaspora there to cheer and see the Prime Minister. Remember, UAE has the highest population of the Indian diaspora, more than 3 million people living here in the UAE.
भारत की यही विशेषता है, यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी, विविधता में.
Right, so this is Prime Minister's two-day visit, and some the photo session in fact taking place. In the background is the temple, which is spread over 27 acres in Abu Dhabi. Now the Prime Minister in fact at this moment waving and accepting the crowd, the welcome from the crowd which is present there. This is a big event, and not just as we are talking about the change as far as the values, the society, and the way in fact UAE wants to present itself, but also a lot of political messaging for the people back home in India as well. Let's just cut across to my colleague Maria Shakil, who is at this moment with our sister concern NDTV India.
और आने वाले दिनों में आम लोगों के लिए, आम श्रद्धालुओं के लिए इस मंदिर को खोल दिया जाएगा। और देखिए इस मंदिर की
जी, और यही मैं बता रही हूँ कि वो मुझे लगा कि ऑडियो
दी है, और प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी
वो मुझे लग रहा था कि वो ऑडियो आप लोगों ने वो क्योंकि ऑडियो आ गई। जी सो मंदिर की शुरुआत, ये कहा जाता है नगमा नाम, और मैं फिर से बोलूँगी मुरसलीन को जूम इन करने के लिए, मंदिर के ऊपरी बाईं और 1997 में अबू धाबी में मंदिर की कल्पना करने वाले परम पूज्य प्रमुख जो स्वामी जी महाराज थे, उन्होंने कहा था कि उनकी एक ड्रीम है कि इस तरह का एक मंदिर अबू धाबी में बने। और उसके बाद जब उन्होंने प्रधानमंत्री को बताया तो 2019 में यहाँ का फाउंडेशन स्टोन लेइंग सेरेमनी हुआ था। मंदिर में किसी भी प्रकार के लोहे या स्टील का इस्तेमाल नहीं हुआ है, बल्कि बस ये पत्थर या स्टोन टेम्पल है, और इसीलिए ये ख़ास है। मंदिर में गोलाकार और बहुत ही विभिन्न प्रकार के खंबे दिख रहे हैं आप, और इधर से दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर मुरसलीन। भारत के उत्तर, पूर्व, पश्चिम और दक्षिण भाग के देवता हिंदू और जो शिल्प कला है वो साफ तौर पे इसमें जो कनेक्ट एक बिल्ड करने की कोशिश हो रही है नगमा, क्योंकि एक कोशिश हो रही है मैसेजिंग की कि जो हिंदुस्तानी है यहाँ पर, जो लगभग 36 लाख हिंदुस्तानी है यहाँ पर, जो बहुत सारे राज्य से आते हैं हिंदुस्तान के, उन लोगों के लिए एक पूजा का कोई जगह हो, और इसीलिए ये मंदिर बहुत ही अहम है। अगर आप उसको देखने की कोशिश करेंगे तो ये एक एफर्ट किया गया है कि जो तट है, जो वाराणसी में जिस तरह की सीढ़ियां हैं जहां पर बहुत कार्यक्रम होता है, उस तरह का भी एक डिपिक्शन है यहाँ पर। और प्रधानमंत्री जब आएंगे तो लगभग वो 3 घंटा गुजारेंगे, और एक है जो एक संबोधन भी है उनका, उन लोगों से बात भी करने वाले हैं। लेकिन वो सीढ़ी से चढ़ करके जब वो आएंगे तो यहाँ पर वो बच्चों से बात करेंगे, और उसके बाद जो आर्टिजन्स हैं, जो श्रमिक हैं, जिन्होंने अपना बहुत वक्त दिया है इस मंदिर के कंस्ट्रक्शन में, उन लोगों से भी मुलाकात करेंगे और धन्यवाद और शुक्रिया भी अदा होगा कि जब अयोध्या में प्राण प्रतिष्ठा का कार्यक्रम हुआ था उस वक्त भी प्रधानमंत्री ने खास समय अपना स्पेंड किया था उन लोगों के साथ जिन्होंने अयोध्या में राम टेम्पल बनाया है। और उसी तरह से उन्होंने जब काशी में विश्वनाथ टेम्पल कॉरिडोर बना और उज्जैन में महाकाल कॉरिडोर बना, जो लोग इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, जो लेबरर्स होते हैं, जो इंजीनियर्स होते हैं, जो आर्टिजन्स होते हैं, उनके लिए एक स्पेशल शुक्रिया और थैंक यू प्राइम मिनिस्टर की तरफ से होता है। तो वो यहाँ पर भी दिखेगा। सो कुछ ही देर में हम एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री उस रेड कारपेट से चल करके आएंगे, उस सीढ़ियों से चढ़ करके वो यहाँ पर पहुँचने वाले हैं और उसके बाद शायद डायरेक्ट ब्रॉडकास्ट होगा एनडीटीवी पर, आप देख सकेंगे। तो थोड़ी देर का इंतजार और उसके बाद प्रधानमंत्री हमारे कैमरा के सामने मौजूद होंगे।
Right, so Maria there, in fact, giving us a complete, lowdown as far as this temple is concerned. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a photo op at this moment with certain dignitaries, those who are present at the inauguration or the consecration ceremony of this temple. Remember, now this temple is in Abu Dhabi, the first of its kind. And at this moment, let's just cut across back to Maria Shakir.
दिल्ली का वो भी उन्होंने बनाया है। उसके अलावा 1000 कहा जाता है कि टेम्पल कंस्ट्रक्शन दुनिया के बहुत सारे हिस्सों में हुआ है नगमा, तो ह्यूस्टन हो या लंदन हो, वहाँ पर भी बैप्स का टेम्पल बना हुआ है। तो ये बहुत ही ये एक ऐसा सेक्ट है जो कल्चरल इंटीग्रेशन और हार्मनी की बात करती है। और इसीलिए जो अगर इस मंदिर की चर्चा करें और इसका जो डिस्क्रिप्शन देखें तो इस यहाँ पर भी एक कोशिश की गई है कि बहुत सारे सिविलाइजेशन को डिपिक्ट किया जाए। अरबिक सिविलाइजेशन हो या इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन हो, इनफैक्ट चाइनीज सिविलाइजेशन का भी कुछ कार्विंग्स है। तो इसलिए अगर पूरे दीवार को देखें तो नगमा, हमने वो रिपोर्ट भी भेजी थी, तो एक बहुत ही थॉट लगा है हर एक चीज़ पर, ताकि जो डिपिक्शन हो एक इंटीग्रेशन का रहे और एक मैसेज रहे ऑफ सिविलाइजेशनल मूवमेंट। और शायद इसीलिए ये बहुत ही अहम और ख़ास मौका है इंडियन डिप्लोमेसी के लिए जब प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी पहला हिंदू टेम्पल इनॉगरेट करेंगे अबू धाबी में, जो सबसे बड़ा टेम्पल है पूरे वेस्ट एशिया में।
माध्यम से यूएई में मंगाया गया है। अब आपके मन में एक सवाल भी आ रहा है।
We bring you these live visuals which are coming in from Abu Dhabi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one by one meeting a few people, important dignitaries, those who have played their role in the construction of this temple. Few from, in fact, this entire, from India, from UAE. But as Maria was also telling us, there are this temple is being put forward as a temple of peace and harmony. Though it's a Hindu temple, but the sense that is being conveyed is that this is a temple of peace and harmony, and that is the reason why there are all those carvings and from others depicting other civilizations as well. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, we believe is walking towards for the main ceremony at the Sanctum Sanctorum of the temple. Once the consecration ceremony is done, the Prime Minister is likely to meet the artisans and others, those who have in fact played their role in the construction of this temple. Remember, this was a similar exercise that the Prime Minister took when this entire, in various, with the Ram temple, with the Kashi corridor, he usually goes and then meets the people and the artisans, those who have helped in the construction of the temple. Let's listen in to this presentation.
जैसे कि हमने देखा, परम पूज्य प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने दिनांक 5 अप्रैल 1997 के दिन अरबस्तान की इस रण रेत पर जो संकल्प किया था, उसके फल स्वरूप आज हमें यह BAPS हिंदू मंदिर दिखाई पड़ता है। परम पूज्य प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने इस मंदिर की संरचना का जो संकल्प किया था वो बालू के टीले पर किया था। तो इस मंदिर की रचना भी इस प्रकार से हुई है कि मानो रण रेत के कूट पर यह मंदिर खड़ा न हो। यहाँ
हिंदुस्तान के वो सब यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही अहम मोमेंट है इंडिया के हिस्ट्री के लिए भी, क्योंकि वो लोग चाहते हैं कि वो इस मोमेंट का पार्ट हों। और शायद नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज के जब आशीष चौहान से मेरी बात हुई तो उन्होंने कहा कि वो बैप्स जो सेक्ट है उसके साथ वो काफ़ी सालों से जुड़े हुए हैं, बचपन से जुड़े हुए हैं, और इसलिए ये उनके लिए अहम है। और उन्होंने ये भी बताया कि जब 2019 में जब फाउंडेशन स्टोन लेइंग सेरेमनी हुई तो उस वक्त भी वो मौजूद थे, और आज जब ये मंदिर बनकर तैयार है और इनॉग्रेशन होने वाला है तो भी वो मौजूद हैं। तो उसके अलावा बहुत सारे जो हाई प्रोफाइल लोग हैं, जो VVIPs हैं, और बहुत सारे जो भारतीय जो लैंडमार्क ग्रुप हो या बहुत सारा ऐसा व्यवसाय है जो बहुत लीडिंग बिजनेसमैन हैं जो UAE में हैं, उन लोग भी यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं अपना प्रेजेंस दिखाने के लिए। और सबसे ज़्यादा ये है कि ये एक नए चैप्टर की शुरुआत है India-UAE रिलेशनशिप के लिए।
So these visuals, in fact, are coming in from Abu Dhabi, ladies and gentlemen, where the Prime Minister is at the consecration ceremony of the temple. We can see at this moment the Prime Minister in being, in fact, felicitated by the members of this sect. Mr. Triguniat, while we see these visuals, how important is this temple, not only, as you earlier said, for UAE to present a different picture of itself, but also for the very strong 3.5 million Indian community?
Well, as you know that UAE has the largest Indian community there, and which is very much welcomed and is counted upon by the leadership in the country for their own development, frankly. And therefore, what we are seeing here is that the aspirations of a very large number of people coming true today, because they have been wanting a temple in Abu Dhabi for a very long time. It was not that easy to get it, as Ambassador Suri also mentioned. But with the Prime Minister's personal connect and with his speech yesterday, he was mentioning that when he told Sheikh Zayed that there was a request from Indian community for this, apparently the Sheikh told him that please put your fingers wherever land you want and how much land you want. I think that is the kind of a trust in this relationship that happens. And this will obviously convey both another dimension, which is because, see, cultural connect and people to people connect is an extremely important thing. And UAE in that sense is very unique. We have seen that they feel very connected with the people of India, as it is the whole of Gulf. So many initiatives have been taken.
Sir, if you allow me, let me go across to my colleague Maria Shakir, who is with us at this moment. Maria, just give our viewers a sense of what you're seeing around you, these visuals. All right, we've just, we'll try and re-establish that line with Maria Shakir and, get you a live commentary of what is happening at the consecration ceremony. This is the Prime Minister along with the members of the sect. Photo session, in fact, taking place there. A lot of videos and photos being taken. While we are talking about and how important is this, moment as far as the Indian community is concerned, Dr. Tarak Artha, what sort of a message do you think that the Prime Minister and this temple does send across in a way, not only to the people of UAE, but also back home in India? Dr. Karta, if you could unmute yourself, please.
I think the level of tolerance and inclusivity this shows is quite staggering. That a sheikhdom says, okay, take land wherever you want. And that, the fact that they have then gone on to implement this on the ground and say all religions are welcome is fantastic. And that, hopefully, that message also would reverberate in India, that everybody is on the same, on the same rights, as the PM often says. So, and that temple, if I may say so, is magnificent. It's amazing. The kind of the carvings. I just saw the visuals. It's quite stupendous. So it's really something for India.
Absolutely important day for India, the Indians, those who live in UAE, and also, in fact, for the UAE for the kind of inclusive message that they would like to send across to the globe with, in fact, opening of this Hindu temple, predominantly Muslim country, in fact, and this also ahead of the 2024 elections does, form an important event as far as Prime Minister Narendra Modi's lineup is concerned. Let me go across to my colleague Maria Shakil. Maria, Prime Minister there receiving a grand welcome. What is happening around you at this moment?
Yes, so the Prime Minister has arrived on time, and after spending almost 3 hours here, he'll be heading straight to the airport, from where the second leg of his visit in the Gulf region actually begins with that visit to Qatar. But a quick recap. That is the path that will be taken by the Prime Minister. He will be walking that red carpet and then climbing up the stairs and walking down that entire path, and then going to meet the children who are here, and also the artisans who have played an important role in the construction of this temple. But yes, it's a day of celebration and also an assertion of by the Indians who are there here in Abu Dhabi. It's a realization of many dreams, one would say, and aspirations of them, because they have been waiting for it for years. I was speaking to a number of them, and they did give us a sense. In fact, we can see the movement of SPG, which has begun. So perhaps the movement of the Prime Minister and Mursaleen is actually zooming in to show that the Prime Minister's arrival will be happening any moment inside the premises, where he will be then, witnessing some colorful events, the cultural programs which have been organized by various groups here, and thereafter he will be entering the temple, the Garbhagriha, or the sanctum sanctorum of the temple, where he will be participating in the ceremony, and of course then address to the community and all those who have gathered here. The presence of the dignitaries, interestingly, Indians from all walks of life, top businessmen, industrialists, those who are part of Bollywood, Akshay Kumar to Madhur Bhandarkar, have all come in here. I think it's a day also of Indians who feel connected to the ritual symbolism temple stands for, and also the great religious civilizational moment that they are also witnessing here in the middle of a desert. But what the Swaminarayan sect says, that this is almost like an oasis in the middle of this desert. So any moment we can expect the Prime Minister. But Ankit, there are two high points of this visit of the Prime Minister. Of course, the bilaterals and the comprehensive economic partnership agreement aside, there are assessments that have happened with regards to UPI as well. All that aside, I think in terms of optics, the big Diaspora event yesterday, and now this inauguration of the BAPS temple, which is the first Hindu temple, a stone temple in Abu Dhabi, which will be done by the Prime Minister in some time from now. In fact, the Prime Minister has entered. I'll ask the camera person to zoom in and show that the Prime Minister, his entire movement has begun. So, he has entered the premises, and he has actually reached that place which symbolizes the confluence of three rivers, the three rivers of India. That is the water which the organizers say came from those rivers from India. And after offering prayers, the Prime Minister will be walking on that red carpet and then entering those who head this temple. In fact, the Prime Minister can be seen there. He is dressed in light pink dhoti kurta and a bandi, which is all in that color. And thereafter, the head of this temple is accompanying him. He's briefing the Prime Minister and giving other details of what makes this temple so unique in Abu Dhabi. But overall, the contribution of BAPS in the messaging of harmony, love, and peace cannot be missed here as well, because there were efforts that were made by this sect to get every permission needed for construction of this temple. I think, in terms of the Prime Minister's own presence, Ankit, and his own messaging of how he has his own politics has changed and grown in the last 10 years, this temple inauguration will be one of those historic moments. So the camera has clearly zoomed in, and we are expecting the Prime Minister to walk on that red carpet. Over to you, Ankit, because there are other cameras perhaps which will be capturing those moments where before the Prime Minister actually arrives.
We'll try and get a better angle of where the Prime Minister is at this moment, and we'll also keep going back to Maria for what's happening around her. But at this moment, let's just take a very quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming back. Stay tuned. News and updates continue.
So that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi right in front of us on this camera feed, which is going from NDTV. That is Prime Minister performing one of the rituals as soon as he entered the temple premises. And now, with that sound of Minister is continuing all the prayers and seeking blessings. He will now be heading towards the Shramiks, or the artisans who have gathered here. He would be, perhaps saying a hello to them and thanking them. Now, Prime Minister going on the other side. The significance, of course, is that he has that the organizers here have organized water from the three rivers of India, which is Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, and that is the water which has been used in this water body, which is right here. And the significance is that this is almost a replica that they have tried to create of the Kashi Ghats, which is a mix of water and, of course, those steps which we can see there where the artisans are right now sitting. The Prime Minister's SPG all moving around. It's 5:17, and thereafter he enters the premises where the community has gathered, where the Indians have gathered, where there will be the Pran Pratishtha, or the ceremony, the consecration ceremony, which will be followed by an address to all those who have gathered here. But in terms of messaging, in terms of symbolism, this visit of the Prime Minister to UAE is very, very high on symbolism. Remember, when he arrived in New Delhi in 2014 as the Prime Minister, it was about Prime Minister Modi positioning himself as Hindu Hriday Samrat. And I would say that this is another high point in that messaging of the Prime Minister, besides that he constantly says about being a leader who has taken care of his people, someone who has emphasized on infrastructure, someone who has emphasized on various other aspects of development in India. But as he addressed the World Government Summit, this was his second address. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi had traveled to Dubai for the address of the World Government Summit. In fact, if I believe, Ankit, the audio is now coming of the Prime Minister entering the premises. Let's cut across to it and then wait perhaps when the Prime Minister arrives here.
लोक पावनि हे गंगे जलेस्मिन् सन्निधिं कुरु ॐ श्री गंगायै नमः श्री गंगाम् आवाहयामि स्थापयामि नमस्करोमि।
गंगा जी की धारा में जल कलश का सिंचन करके अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी भारत की पवित्र नदी यमुना में अपनी जलधारा बहाने के लिए आ रहे हैं।
संयुक्त अरब देशत्र सनातन सुमंदिरे पूते कालिंदी यमुने जलेस्मिन् सन्निधिं कुरु ॐ श्री यमुनायै नमः श्री यमुनाम् आवाहयामि स्थापयामि नमस्करोमि।
गंगा जी और यमुना जी की धाराओं में जल कलश से जल का सिंचन करके अब प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी मंदिर की सोपान पंक्तियों को चढ़कर मंदिर में प्रवेश करेंगे। बाद अब कलात्मक पुष्पहार से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र भाई मोदी जी परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज का अभिवादन कर रहे हैं। इस मंदिर की भेंट देने के लिए, मंदिर का उपहार देने के लिए कृतज्ञता से प्रधानमंत्री श्री ने स्वामी जी का सत्कार किया। महंत स्वामी महाराज भी उनका पुष्पहार से स्वागत सत्कार और अभिवादन कर रहे हैं। अब मंदिर का लोकार्पण महंत स्वामी महाराज के साथ माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी कर रहे हैं।
अथ मंदिरोद्घाटन विधिः अद्यात्र संयुक्तारब राष्ट्रे अबुधाबी नगरे विश्वैकता संवादिता प्रेम शांति इत्यादि मूल्य प्रसारणार्थम समस्त लोक कल्याणाय BAPS हिंदू मंदिरस्य उद्घाटनम् अहं करोमि।
As visitors walk into the temple, the first dome that will greet them is the Dome of Harmony. It consists of 5 layers that represent the 5 elements. The first layer is earth, represented by carvings of the world. The second layer is water, represented by the conch shells. The third layer is light, represented by the carvings of the sun. The fourth layer is wind, represented by galloping deers. And finally, the last layer is Akash, or space, which is represented by the moons and the stars. The messaging is simple, that places change and people change. So if since the beginning of time, these 5 elements, which are so distinct in nature, can create a beautiful world, you and I, who are just a little bit different, can come together and create a more harmonious world.
मंदिर के कलात्मक गुंबज का दर्शन करके अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के समक्ष आ रहे हैं। इन मूर्तियों की प्राण प्रतिष्ठा आज सुबह में ही परम पूज्य महंत स्वामी महाराज के कर कमलों से संपन्न हुई है। वेद उपनिषद में वर्णित ब्रह्म और परब्रह्म के स्वरूप समान ही यह अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज के समक्ष विराजमान होकर अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री मोदी जी वेदोक्त विधि से इस मूर्तियों का पूजन करेंगे। BAPS संस्था के स्थापक ब्रह्म स्वरूप शास्त्री जी महाराज का आज जन्मदिन है। उन्होंने अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम उपासना के मंदिरों की रचना का प्रारंभ किया था। पूरे विश्व में ब्रह्म स्वरूप योगी जी महाराज और प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने ऐसी सनातन उपासना के मंदिरों का निर्माण किया और आज अबू धाबी में ये मंदिर का लोकार्पण हो रहा है।
हम दोनों हाथ जोड़कर मंगलाचरण करेंगे। स्वामी नारायणारंभाम यज्ञ पुरुष मध्यमाम महंत स्वामी पर्यंताम वंदे गुरु परंपराम। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्वस्ति तिलकम। अब महंत स्वामी महाराज नरेंद्र मोदी साहब को चंदन और अक्षत से स्वस्ति तिलक करेंगे।
Right, and these are live pictures that we are getting from Abu Dhabi there, where Prime Minister Modi is in fact at the BAPS temple in Abu Dhabi, and the temple has in fact been thrown open for the first time today. This is of course the inauguration, part of the inauguration ceremony that Prime Minister Modi is chairing, and Simultaneously, of course, you can see on your screens there are pictures coming in of different parts of the world where BAPS temples are located. This is, of course, the first the biggest stone Hindu temple outside of India and the first Hindu temple in the UAE. The Prime Minister there, part of the ceremony, and remember that the BAPS Mandir has in fact been built on around 27 acres of land, and the land for this had in fact been finalized around 2018-2019. And finally, this temple has in fact been inaugurated today by Prime Minister Modi himself. He is, of course, taking part in the rituals which had just started a short while back in Abu Dhabi. Right, let me go across to my colleague Maria Shakil, who's reporting from the temple premises there in Abu Dhabi. Maria, take us through what you can see around you, and the Prime Minister there, of course, leading the ceremonial the ceremonies which are being conducted there for the temple's inauguration.
Yes, so this is, if the camera could zoom in and show, this is one of the gates, for the entrance of the temple where the Prime Minister is, and the Pran Pratishtha or the consecration ceremony is happening. The inauguration has happened. This temple will be opened to the general public only on 1st of March. So they'll have to wait a little more and wait for the things to be a little more organized here. But yes, I think the high point will also be when the Prime Minister walks that path and interacts with those children who say that they have, taken those stones which are left over from this temple and put some colors to it. And those are around 3,000 of them, which they have painted with some messages of harmony, peace and love, which they will be distributing to all those VIPs who have gathered here. But yes, the interaction with the workers or the artisans, which we have seen that the Prime Minister often does, be it the Ram Temple in Ayodhya or the Kashi Vishwanath corridor that we saw in Kashi, and then Mahakal corridor in Ujjain. The Prime Minister does make that effort in which he interacts with them, says a big thank you for all the efforts that they have put in ensuring that this beautiful piece of actually comes through. So what we are told, and even as we look at those visuals coming from inside where the rituals are being performed, there'll be also an address by the Prime Minister, and that will be followed by this interaction, which again is significant in terms of that connect that he tries to build with the last man standing, if I may use that phrase rather loosely, I would say. But the parts or the pillars of this temple has come all the way from Rajasthan. The carvings happened there, and the artisans who are here actually were involved in ensuring that the color of the pink stone actually remains as pink as we can see right now. So certainly this is going to be seen as a big high point of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's diplomacy, his personal connect with the Middle East, and also that continuous messaging that he has tried to give in the last 10 years, that he has tried to reach out to the Middle East, to the Gulf countries, because he understands the presence of the Indian diaspora. The Indian diaspora is strong, 36 lakh here in UAE alone. So their contribution to the development and the economy here cannot be forgotten. But they are also ambassadors of India, something that we saw play out yesterday at Alan Modi event. But yes, I would say that in terms of the depiction, the symbolism, that presence in history, this would be seen as one of those moments, high points of Prime Minister Modi's foreign policy, where he has integrated culture in Middle East with the large Indian culture, the Hindu culture, sending a message that there is about coexistence, about ensuring peace and unity. Yes, those visuals continue to come from inside the temple premises, where the Prime Minister is is performing the ceremony. He will be addressing the gathering there. Having covered the Ayodhya consecration ceremony just few days back, I would say, we can see almost the event organized along the same lines. The address by the Prime Minister, which we are told will be significant, is similar to what he gave, if you remember, in Ayodhya during the consecration ceremony of Ram Temple. But again, it is about that messaging. It is about Prime Minister Modi walking that extra mile, ensuring that personal bonhomie, the personal connect that he has built with world leaders, with world leaders actually translates into something which will be seen as a huge civilizational moment for India and particularly the Hindu community.
Right, Maria, of course, we can see that the Prime Minister there, as you said, that the optics are doing all the talking at the moment. And remember, this is, of course, coming in just a few weeks after the grand Ram Mandir inauguration in Ayodhya. Now, Prime Minister Modi there leading the inauguration of the first big Hindu temple in the UAE, the first Hindu temple in the UAE in Abu Dhabi there, where Maria is reporting from. Let me also introduce my guests who are joining us on the broadcast today. Dr. Wael Awad, senior international journalist and West Asia expert, and Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, former diplomat. In fact, we'll go across to them shortly. But first, let me go across to my colleague Maria Shakil, who has somebody there with her. Yes, Maria.
Yes, so we have a volunteer, Yogi Trivedi, with us, who will give us a quick itinerary of the Prime Minister, what all will happen in the next 1 hour.
So the Prime Minister arrived and he was first greeted in traditional Hindu Sanatani style with a garland by the senior sadhus at the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha. From there he walked over into this full immersion show that has been made to tell the story of the land donation, the construction of the temple according to the Shilpa Shastras that are tens of thousands of years old in Hindu Sanskriti. And then after that show was completed, he came to the front of the mandir and he went up. He performed the aarti. From there, he will come down and meet all of the Shilpis who were involved in the creation of the temple. And from there, he'll also meet some of the volunteers and the young children.
What is happening right now? If we were to put that in terms of rituals, which are these rituals which are being performed?
So the evening where the Sandhya Aarti was just completed, just 30 seconds ago while we were speaking. Okay. And after that, there's a mantra pushpanjali that occurs in which the patron offers a sankalp, or expresses a prayer or a desire. So I'm sure the Prime Minister is praying for many diverse things, especially for the Hindus here in the United Arab Emirates.
And a strong India.
And a strong Bharat, and of course the Hindus around the world, because the diasporas. I live in New York myself, and where I've noticed that...
you have come from New York for this?
Yes, I have. I'm actually a scholar of media and religion there at Columbia University. I'm here as a volunteer to help with the festival.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Yogi. Over to you, Tanima, you can continue your conversation with the guests.
Right, Maria, thank you so much. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you as and when the action picks up over there, of course, but you can see that the ceremonies are being conducted and the Prime Minister there, one of the key participants in the ceremonies of the inauguration of that particular Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. But as I said, let me introduce my guest once again, Dr. Wael Awad, who is a senior international journalist and a West Asia expert, joining us on the show, and also Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, former diplomat. Thank you, sir, to both of you, in fact, for joining us on the discussion. My first question, in fact, is about this is, of course, all about the imagery and the optics which we are seeing on our screens right now. But what kind of an impact will this temple inauguration have on Prime Minister's global image? Dr. Wael Awad, if you want to take that question first.
Thank you. I think this is a modern, what we call a symbol of a modern mixing between two nations where they have fostered their relation. And I think this is not the first temple in the Middle East as such. It has been temples in Bahrain, in UAE, in Emirates, in Oman, and there are Gurdwara. But to building the largest temple in Abu Dhabi in contemporary history it's a clear message that to the rest of the world how important is harmony and integration and coexistence among nations. And I think that will also give a clear message from the Arab countries to the Indian diaspora, how it is important that these Indian expats who are living in the Gulf would exceed the 8 million people there, that they can be able to integrate with the society, which they have been contributing extensively to the development to these countries.
Right. And Ambassador Gupta, coming to you, the big Diaspora Connect, as we were talking about, and even the launch of this first, the largest Hindu temple in, largest stone Hindu temple outside of India and the first Hindu temple in UAE. How does this particular visit of Prime Minister Modi, in fact, propel the India-UAE ties even further? Because this is, in fact, being seen as a milestone visit.
Well, yeah, certainly. I think it's a very significant development because it reveals that there is a complete change of mindset in the relations between India and UAE. Whereas earlier, let's say from the Indian perspective, there was a tendency to look at relations with the UAE through a political prism or through the Pakistan factor. All that has changed now, and now the effort is to see the relationship on the basis of their political, economic, and strategic importance, and how we can use these ties and along with the presence of our vast diaspora to our mutual advantage. Similarly, from the UAE side, I think there is a sea change if one examines it, because earlier, while there was an effort to sort of support the conservative and orthodox Islamic groups, all that is now has changed, and now most of these countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and others, now they want to take all sections of their people along, and they are not discriminating or sort of giving preference to those groups. And there is a disconnect, with the fundamentalist groups. They don't want to encourage them anymore, and they are supporting all the sections of people, and a lot of reforms are taking place, and there is an effort to build up the non-oil sector of their economies, build up green renewable energy segments and so on, and also to diversify their relations and hedge and build up ties with a large number of countries such as China, India, and other countries like Japan and so on. So there is a complete change in the way things are being looked at now.
Right. Dr. Wael Awad and Ambassador Gupta, I would request both of you to stay on with us. We'll have to slip into a short break, but we'll continue this discussion right after that.
Welcome back. Well, let's bring you visuals of the grand temple that has just been inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Abu Dhabi. It is the first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi of its nature. This is the BAPS temple that you can see there. Ahead of the inauguration, the Prime Minister offered water in the virtual Ganga and Yamuna rivers in the temple premises. He then proceeded to offer prayers inside the temple as well. The Prime Minister has been on a two-day visit to the UAE, and this is his last major engagement before he leaves then for Qatar. I remember that was inserted into the Prime Minister's plan after the 8 naval veterans were released by Qatar. So the Prime Minister will be going there from here. But there are the visuals, as you can see, of the temple. The Prime Minister greeted there by seers, and he's been taken around this temple, which is very significant. It's a massive temple which has been built with over 300 high-tech sensors. We're told it's a 27-acre site, and it's a cost of 700 crore. There have been several years since this temple was being built. 20,000 tons of sandstone pieces were actually carved in Rajasthan and then brought here to the temple and shipped there in some 700 containers. Even marble was brought from Europe to India and then brought on here to Abu Dhabi, where this temple has just been inaugurated by the Prime Minister. He also participated in a global aarti, and as the Prime Minister was performing the aarti here at the BAPS Mandir, it was going on simultaneously, we're told, in 1,200 temples across the world. So it was a sort of global aarti that was being performed. Well, to talk more about the significance of the Prime Minister's visit, the inauguration of this temple, we're now joined by Dr. Wael Avar, the senior international journalist, West Asia expert, and Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, former diplomat. Thank you so much for joining us. And Ambassador Gupta, first to you, the Prime Minister's special connect with the UAE over, his 2 terms as Prime Minister. This is his last international visit before the elections are declared, and the relationship between the 2 countries has really, gone from strength to strength under the Prime Minister.
Oh, yes. This is, I think, Prime Minister Modi's 7th visit to UAE. And I would say that the relationship between the 2 countries has completely transformed in these 10 years. Now, UAE is one of our closest friends in the Gulf. India supported the admission of UAE in the BRICS Plus grouping. Then we have got extensive political, economic, security and other ties with the UAE. We have a flourishing trade, and now more and more effort. We have signed a free trade agreement with the UAE. Then in this current visit, I think new agreements have been signed in regard to digital economy. Then arrangements between credit cards and debit cards of the 2 countries, so that the Indian community in these countries can send remittances through the help of those credit cards.
Right. Right, and Ambassador Gupta, the significance of this temple inauguration, this massive temple spread over acres and acres, the entire temple complex, and to have the Prime Minister inaugurating this Hindu temple in an Islamic country, the significance and symbolism of it.
Oh, yes, this is, I think, extremely important. This is for the first time that in a sensitive region such as the Gulf, which was where some of these countries were earlier sort of characterized by more orthodox, conservative Islamic regimes, and now such a huge temple being constructed for the Hindu community, and shows that there is a complete change in their mindset. And these people are now thinking more in terms of coexistence of different religions, acceptance of Hinduism, and accepting the cultural values.
Right. Sorry to interrupt you there, sir. We're just going to go across to our reporter, Maria, who is there at the temple. Maria, over to you.
Yes, so on our television screens is the Prime Minister, who is being accompanied by the head of the BAPS sect. He is actually explaining each and every architectural significant points here on the temple premises. Now the Prime Minister is actually going towards those children that we had spoken to earlier today. And, as we have been saying, I think the presence of children becomes essential, something that the Prime Minister has always incorporated in his visits. We will try and, show those pictures. We can see those pictures of Prime Minister interacting with those children, where he is actually, telling them and waving at them. Those if the camera could zoom in and show, we can see those interactions that the Prime Minister has just had with the children, and now he is moving towards the shramiks or the artisans, the engineers who come from various parts of India, many of whom have been here for the last few years and have played an important role in this magnificent temple structure that we are seeing, which was inaugurated by the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister actually now interacting with the engineers, the technicians, all of whom have been involved in this temple, construction work. Now then we can see him move now towards those volunteers, mostly women there, those women who have played a significant role in terms of ensuring that the entire event goes as per plan. These women who we have been interacting with as well, speaking to them regularly, they have been telling us the significance of this temple, what all has been part and the thought that has gone behind it. So the Prime Minister there interacting and now moving towards the women volunteers. Perhaps there is some celebration again, a lot of clapping and the chants that can be heard. There's loud music that is playing here, Gargi. But it's about that message of harmony that we keep talking about, and I think that is what these visuals are symbolizing, even as the Prime Minister interacts with more volunteers who are telling about their contribution. And of course, this personal connect that the Prime Minister often builds with all those who have been involved becomes essential, something that we have seen in the past as well. Perhaps there will be a photo opportunity. Yes, there is a photo opportunity which is happening. We will try and go to that place and get more visuals of it, but then we are getting those visuals, and I would let the audio play now because the clapping and the other sounds that can be heard, the chants as well of Prime Minister Modi, something that we see often in India, but now being seen in Abu Dhabi here as well. So those visuals as they come in, he is perhaps signing a book, a visitor's book. We will get details of what exactly he has written in it. And even as he spends a few moments there, we can see several Saudis, several Emiratis who have arrived here and who to perhaps participate in this event. Those men who have come in thope, that is the uniform that is often discussed. He is perhaps the Minister of Tolerance who has come to greet the Prime Minister here at the BAPS temple. Remember, it was at the personal intervention of the President of UAE, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, that land was donated for the construction of the BAPS temple. The Prime Minister there now, actually, you can see the tolerance minister there, along with the Prime Minister, and also the BAPS temple sect head here in Abu Dhabi. So a photo opportunity there, and then we will be seeing more such images which will be coming in perhaps from the Prime Minister's office, which will have detailed and frontal shots because we are in this part of the media area where the movement is restricted. But overall now Prime Minister is heading towards the area where the women volunteers of the BAPS sect are present. They have played a very stellar role in ensuring that the entire program is organized well. They have been interacting with people from different walks of life, and perhaps sending that message that their role becomes equally important. Just a quick word here, Gargi, that the BAPS sect is of brahmacharis. So we tried to speak to any of those the priests. We were told clearly that women journalists are not allowed to interact with them, and the interaction will happen only with men. That was perhaps one of those points that we realized that this is a group which is very different from other sects that we have heard, but it's unique in its own way. There is a photo opportunity which is happening with the women volunteers, and then the Prime Minister goes back inside where he will be addressing the gathering of all those who have come from several parts of UAE and also from India. So the Prime Minister being accompanied by the Minister of Tolerance here. It's the only country in the Middle East which has a minister, a dedicated portfolio holder for that kind of role, because Middle East is trying to send a message of unity and coexistence, and the role of Minister of Tolerance perhaps becomes essential and rather interesting. Over to you, Gargi.
All right, Maria, thanks so much for joining us. Maria, they're reporting from the temple as the Prime Minister has inaugurated the BAPS temple in Abu Dhabi, the first Hindu temple there. He's interacting, as you can see, with the head seer there, as well as an official who has come to speak with him. The Prime Minister's been on a 2-day visit, and this is his last major engagement, the inauguration of this temple in Abu Dhabi, and a massive temple at that. Well, let's go across to our guests. And Dr. Wael Awad, earlier we were speaking to Ambassador Gupta about, the significance of the Prime Minister inaugurating this temple, a Hindu temple in an Islamic nation like the UAE. It's been quite something, the manner in which he's managed to build ties with countries across the Gulf.
Absolutely. I think ever since the Prime Minister have taken office in 2014, we have seen him visiting the region more than 15 times. And Abu Dhabi and UAE has been one of the prime center priority for him. He visited 7 times, and he had a strong bond relation with the president of UAE. And in fact, it also shows reflects the commitment of UAE of a tolerance and a coexistence. It's also the commitment to pluralism, cultural diversity, and religious freedom. So that sort of messages that the UAE is trying to give, I think this is what I was trying to say. It is the model kind of, the modern model between India and UAE, which is going to be reflecting in most of the Arab countries, most of the world, most of West Asia, because we see India as a natural extension into West Asian nation, because about barring 76 years where Pakistan was formed, India was a natural extension there. So the Indian food security, oil security, cultural security, and diaspora security as well is a part of India's main national interest. So if that could be fostered with the relation between the two countries and to provide peace and tranquility in this part of the world, I think India is reaching out to most of the Arab countries under Prime Minister Modi. And I think that negligence, which has been for years, for more than 34 years of the Gulf country, is now more of an Indian interest and approach, and proactive approach, not only for Arab-India relation. In fact, if I may add here, that the Indian diaspora and each citizen of India is matter for the Prime Minister.
Right, and Dr. Awad, also what's been, interesting and quite remarkable is the fact that while Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he wears, Hindu pride on his sleeve, and there's a lot of Hindu nationalism associated with him, which is questioned back home here in India. But despite that, and he's really, as we said, visited various countries across the Gulf and established very deep relationships. So how do you see that?
I think he played a major role in fostering a personal touch with his relation with most of the leaders, not only in the Arab country. In fact, he had also with most of the international leaders. He developed a sort of a karmas and style that it is everybody now talking about. I think he made a brand of himself internationally, and every Indian now, I'm sure, outside the country is proud also of being Indian, because he strengthened India in the international community. There is a very strong, recognition of India as a soft power, as an emerging power in Asia, which can be reckoned with and also which can be trusted. So this sort of messages that they have been giving, and you keeping your attire with the traditional classic Indian clothes, is also a message that everybody start wearing it. I'm among the people who keep wearing the Indian traditional clothes for years, and that's where most of the Arab also do the same. And whenever there is a visit, they're always mixed and try to live like the Roman behave in Rome.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Do stay on. We're going to slip into a short break and return with more.
Hello everyone, this is a special edition of The Last Word, where I'm coming to you live from Abu Dhabi. This is the temple, the BAPS Hindu Mandir, which has been inaugurated by the Prime Minister. The address of the Prime Minister is going to begin any moment now. It's a unique structure. It's a temple which symbolizes deepening ties between India and UAE. It symbolizes what is clearly about coexistence, it's about peace, it's about harmony. And with those messages, there is that speech which is going on by Minister of Tolerance of UAE even as we speak. The big takeaway, of course, will be what the Prime Minister says. It is his last big event, big diplomatic visit in the run-up to 2024 elections. Yesterday, it was a massive reach out to southern India, clearly. But here, I think it's also about sending a message that it's a civilizational moment for India. And in the 10 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's foreign policy, he has attempted to redefine it, not just ensuring greater trade ties between India and UAE, increasing it by leaps and bounds, but also ensuring greater people-to-people connect and also cultural ties. As this temple becomes a reality in this in this desert, which is being called as a spiritual oasis by BAPS, which is the sect which has built this temple. I spoke to former Indian ambassador to UAE, who was one of those who played an important role in negotiating the space, and also discussed the architectural significance of this temple, which has 7 spires. 7 spires, all of which stand for 7 Emirates, 7 Abu Dhabi, the Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah and others which form Emirates, the UAE. I spoke to Ambassador Navdeep Singh Suri, who is among the dignitaries listening to the Prime Minister. Let's listen in to what he told me earlier today. Former Indian ambassador to UAE, Navdeep Suri, is here. So I was reading your article this morning, and you have shared a very interesting anecdote about your interaction with the president of UAE, where he said about what is the most acceptable form of architecture. Share it with our viewers.
Well, we have to go back to 2018. The Prime Minister was to come for the same World Government Summit that he has addressed today in February 2018. And it had been decided that the Prime Minister would unveil the replica of the temple, because by that time the land had already been given to us. And the question was, what kind of replica would he unveil? So the BAPS Swaminarayan people, very organized, very engaged, developed 2 models. One was a classical Hindu temple with the shikhars and all that, and the second was kind of a very discreet model where it was a rectangle and the temple was recessed within the temple. So I had the job of taking it across to the UAE authorities and saying, please tell us which one. And so it was pending for a few days, and then we had our Republic Day, 26 January 2018, and His Highness Sheikh Abdullah, then the Foreign Minister, was our guest of honor. And as we were leaving the premises, he said, Ambassador, I have some good news for you. You had shown me those 2 replicas, and I discussed with my brother Sheikh Mohammed, and he said, well, we agreed to a Hindu temple. It should look like a Hindu temple. Okay. And that was the end of the story, and that's why we have this great temple today with the 7 shikhars that symbolize the 7 Emirates of UAE.
And overall relationship between the 2 nations, sir. What do you think has changed since 2014?
Look, this has become one of our most dynamic, one of our most consequential relationships in the world today. The very fact that the Prime Minister is here for the 7th time within his 2 terms in office is indicative of the progress that we have made. And really today you can't leave any particular discipline. I've just come from the World Government Summit where the Prime Minister delivered the keynote address and inaugurated the Bharat Mart, laid the foundation stone for it virtually. You have the first IIT Delhi campus already up and running.
And the Prime Minister has promised a CBSE campus as well.
Well, there are over 100 schools here with CBSE syllabus. This is the largest Indian diaspora outside India, 3.5 million persons, most of whom are Indian passport holders. So no matter which way you look at it, it is truly one of our most significant relationships.
Talking about the temple, because we are in the premises, in few minutes perhaps the Prime Minister arrives and the consecration ceremony will happen. Dubai has 3 temples. But this one is special because this is the first one in Abu Dhabi and also the largest in West Asia.
It is, but it isn't just about that size. I think it's the difference between Abu Dhabi and Dubai that we should comprehend. While Dubai was always the more open, freewheeling entrepot, Abu Dhabi traditionally was somewhat more conservative. But, you know, you can trace an evolution post 9/11, post the Arab Spring. The way UAE's policy towards matters of religion has changed. The way they've appointed a very senior member of the royal family, Sheikh Nahyan, as the Minister for Tolerance. The way they actively promote the whole concept of interfaith harmony. The Abraham Accords. Yes, the cleansing of books of anti-Semitic texts. You know, there is a huge change that is taking place in this country. And I think you should see the Mandir in the context of changes that have taken place here, without which it wouldn't have been possible.
Okay, and you have played a role here as well. So it's almost a dream come true for you?
It was my privilege to be here and to play my little role in facilitating the process, but there were many actors, and really hats off in particular to the BAPS Hindu for just the level of organization, commitment, energy that they bring to the project.
Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. Yes, so you heard Ambassador Navdeep Suri, former Indian ambassador to UAE, who shared that very interesting anecdote. And there are several Indians who have traveled all the way to become a part of this ceremony, which is happening even as we speak. Legendary actress Mumtaz is among the dignitaries who are present right now, and I spoke to her while she was inside the premises, entering even as we speak at that time. Please listen to her. We have legendary actress Mumtaz with us. Ma'am, you are here in the premises of this temple. Yes. You have been around in Abu Dhabi and Dubai for several years. What does this temple mean to you in terms of harmony, unity?
Of course, it means a lot. We are very proud of this temple. And my husband is also Gujarati. But I believe in all the religions. I love to go to temples. I love to go everywhere, you know. That's all I can say. It's so nice. It's a beautiful, the way they have made is beautiful.
Dubai has 3 temples, but this one, do you think is even more special because it's almost being said that it's like a lotus in desert?
Well, beautiful thing is beautiful, no matter where it is. It makes no difference whether it is desert or heaven or what. उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं होता है. और भगवान का जो घर है, वो important है, चाहे कहीं भी हो दुनिया में. It is very important.
It खास है, मैम?
Of course खास है, खास करके मेरे husband के लिए भाई.
जी बताएं आप.
He knows Modi ji. He knows him very well.
Well, it's a wonderful temple, and we're very honored to have it. This is the first temple of its kind in UAE, and a lot of work has gone into it. And of course, Modi ji coming here is very, very important, and unifies our community as a whole, which is a wonderful thing.
Were you there at the Diaspora event also yesterday, Alan Modi?
No, I didn't attend that. I just came in from Africa to attend this function this morning.
And you know, the significance of a temple, do you think it actually writes a new chapter in India-UAE relationship?
Definitely. As Modi ji said, you know, a lot of investments have come from the UAE into India, foreign direct investments. So the temple is just a milestone in our history, and I think Indians should be very proud of it. And we thank, of course, the leadership in the UAE for all they've done to allow this type of thing. You know, it shows encompassing all religions, which is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Just a small word from you. आपको क्या लगता है हिंदुस्तान और यूएई के रिश्ते कैसे बदलेंगे इस टेंपल के इनॉग्रेशन के बाद?
They had no problem, I think, even before. And it's good mostly for our Hindu community. They've got a luxury, beautiful temple. So it's nice, you know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Akshay Kumar, filmmaker, Madhur Bhandarkar, and among many actors and representatives of Bollywood who are present even as we speak. In fact, industrialists, members of the business community, corporate world are all present as well among the dignitaries who have travelled from India. And one such person is the National Stock Exchange chairperson, Ashish Chauhan, who has in fact been a part of the BAPS sect. I spoke to him. Listen in to what he told me. Talking about business first, because the bilaterals have been signed. There is a new momentum as far as the trade understanding between the two countries are concerned.
No, it's I think, happy occasion on all fronts. I think there was a governance summit also today, where Honorable Prime Minister spoke. Yesterday there were other Indian Diaspora meeting and also bilaterals today, yesterday. So effectively, in fact, there were many more heads of states who met our Prime Minister. So it's a overall sort of a good trip till now, and this is probably the culmination of the UAE leg. Probably he then later on goes to Qatar, but broadly.
And in terms of, you've made an interesting point that this is the culmination. Why do you see this as a culmination? Many would say that it's a very multi-dimensional relationship between the two nations.
So, no, in terms of this trip, it's a culmination. But overall, I mean, I have been coming to this temple when there was flatland, and since then I've been witness to the progress of this temple, and I think it's been a phenomenal achievement for in terms of the bilateral relations between both the countries.
जब फ्लैट था टेंपल जब बन रहा था 2017 में जब कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क शुरू हुआ उसके वक्त से बताइए.
So no, I have been working also since childhood in this sect called BAPS. So effectively, I'm a devotee of this sect, and that's where basically whenever I come to Dubai, I kind of come and see the progress here. So I've seen the progress, and last I think 1 year has been phenomenal progress. I'd come even during Expo last time, and it was not looking that it will be able to they will be able to complete it in a short time, but kudos to them, they have been able to complete the construction in a short time.
His Excellency Sheikh Nayan Al Mubarak, Pujya Mahant Swamiji Maharaj, भारत, यूएई और विश्व के विभिन्न देशों से आए अतिथिगण और दुनिया के कोने कोने से इस आयोजन से जुड़े मेरे भाइयों एवं बहनों, आज यूनाइटेड अरब अमीरात की धरती ने मानवीय इतिहास का एक नया स्वर्णिम अध्याय लिखा है। आज अबू धाबी में भव्य और दिव्य मंदिर का लोकार्पण हो रहा है। इस पल के पीछे वर्षों की मेहनत लगी है। इसमें वर्षों पुराना सपना जुड़ा हुआ है और इसमें भगवान स्वामीनारायण का आशीर्वाद जुड़ा है। आज प्रमुख स्वामी जिस दिव्य लोक में होंगे, उनकी आत्मा जहां होगी वहां प्रसन्नता का अनुभव कर रही होगी। पूज्य प्रमुख स्वामी के साथ मेरा नाता एक प्रकार से पिता पुत्र का नाता रहा। मेरे लिए एक पितृतुल्य भाव से जीवन के एक लंबे कालखंड तक उनका सानिध्य मिलता रहा, उनके आशीर्वाद मिलते रहे और शायद कुछ लोगों को सुनकर आश्चर्य होगा कि मैं सीएम था तब भी, पीएम था तब भी अगर कोई चीज उनको पसंद नहीं आती थी तो मुझे स्पष्ट शब्दों में मार्गदर्शन करते थे। और जब दिल्ली में अक्षरधाम का निर्माण हो रहा था तो उनके आशीर्वाद से मैं शिलान्यास कार्यक्रम में था। तब तो मैं राजनीति में भी कुछ नहीं था। और उस दिन मैंने कहा था कि गुरु कि हम बहुत तारीफ तो करते रहते हैं, लेकिन कभी सोचा है कि किसी गुरु ने कहा कि यमुना के तट पर अपना भी कोई स्थान हो और शिष्य रूपी प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने अपने गुरु की उस इच्छा को परिपूर्ण कर दिया था। आज मैं भी उसी एक शिष्य भाव से यहां आपके सामने उपस्थित हूं कि आज प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज का सपना हम पूरा कर पाए हैं। आज बसंत पंचमी का पवित्र त्योहार भी है, पूज्य शास्त्री जी महाराज की जन्म जयंती भी है। ये बसंत पंचमी, ये पर्व मां सरस्वती का पर्व है। मां सरस्वती यानी बुद्धि और विवेक की मानवीय प्रज्ञा और चेतना की देवी। ये मानवीय प्रज्ञा ही है जिसने हमें सहयोग, सामंजस्य, समन्वय और सौहार्द जैसे आदर्शों को जीवन में उतारने की समझ दी है। मुझे आशा है कि मंदिर भी मानवता के लिए, बेहतर भविष्य के लिए बसंत का स्वागत करेगा। ये मंदिर पूरी दुनिया के लिए सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द और वैश्विक एकता का प्रतीक बनेगा। भाइयों और बहनों, यूएई के मिनिस्टर ऑफ टॉलरेंस हिज एक्सेलेंसी शेख नायान अल मुबारक यहां विशेष तौर पर उपस्थित है और उन्होंने भाव भी जो व्यक्त किए, जो बातें हमारे सामने रखी, वो हमारे उन सपनों को मजबूत करने का उनके शब्दों में उन्होंने वर्णन किया है। मैं उनका आभारी हूं। साथियों, इस मंदिर के निर्माण में यूएई की सरकार की जो भूमिका रही, उसकी जितनी तारीफ की जाए उतनी कम है। लेकिन इस भव्य मंदिर का स्वप्न साकार करने में अगर सबसे बड़ा सहयोग किसी का है तो मेरे ब्रदर हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद बिन जायद का है। मुझे पता है कि प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ यूएई की पूरी गवर्नमेंट ने कितने बड़े दिल से करोड़ों भारतवासियों की इच्छा को पूरा किया है। और इन्होंने सिर्फ यहां नहीं, 140 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों के दिल को जीत लिया है। मैं इस मंदिर के विचार से लेकर एक प्रकार से प्रमुख स्वामी जी के स्वप्न से लेकर के, स्वप्न बाद में विचार में परिवर्तित हुआ, यानी विचार से लेकर इसके साकार होने तक पूरी यात्रा में इससे जुड़ा रहा हूं। ये मेरा सबसे बड़ा सौभाग्य है। और इसलिए मैं जानता हूं कि हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद बिन जायद की उदारता के लिए धन्यवाद ये शब्द भी बहुत छोटा लगता है। इतना बड़ा उन्होंने काम किया। मैं चाहता हूं उनके इस व्यक्तित्व को, भारत यूएई रिश्तों की गहराई को केवल यूएई और भारत के लोग ही नहीं बल्कि पूरा विश्व भी जाने। मुझे याद है जब मैं 2015 में यूएई में यहां आया था और तब मैंने हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद से इस मंदिर के विचार पर चर्चा की थी। मैंने भारत के लोगों की इच्छा उनके सामने रखी तो उन्होंने पलक झपकते ही उसी पल मेरे प्रस्ताव के लिए हां कर दिया। उन्होंने मंदिर के लिए बहुत कम समय में ही इतनी बड़ी जमीन भी उपलब्ध करवाई। यही नहीं, मंदिर से जुड़े एक और विषय का समाधान किया। मैं साल 2018 में जब दोबारा यूएई आया था, या संतों ने मुझे जिसका ब्रह्मविहारी स्वामी जी ने अभी वर्णन किया, मंदिर के 2 मॉडल दिखाए। एक मॉडल भारत की प्राचीन वैदिक शैली पर आधारित भव्य मंदिर का था जो हम देख रहे हैं। दूसरा एक सामान्य सा मॉडल था जिसमें बाहर से कोई हिंदू धार्मिक चिन्ह नहीं थे। संतों ने मुझे कहा कि यूएई की सरकार जिस मॉडल को स्वीकार करेगी उसी पर आगे काम होगा। जब यह सवाल हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद के पास गया तो उनकी सोच साफ, एकदम साफ थी। उनका कहना था कि अबू धाबी में जो मंदिर बने वो अपने पूरे वैभव और गौरव के साथ बने। वे चाहते थे कि यहां सिर्फ मंदिर बने ही नहीं बल्कि वो मंदिर जैसा दिखे भी। साथियों, ये छोटी बात नहीं है, बहुत बड़ी बात है। यहां सिर्फ मंदिर बने ही नहीं लेकिन वो मंदिर जैसा दिखे भी। भारत से बंधुत्व की ये भावना वाकई हमारी बहुत बड़ी पूंजी है। हम इस मंदिर के में जो भव्यता दिख रही है उसमें हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद की विशाल सोच की भी झलक है। अब तक जो यूएई बुर्ज खलीफा, फ्यूचर म्यूजियम, शेख जायद मस्जिद और दूसरी हाईटेक बिल्डिंग के लिए जाना जाता था, अब उसकी पहचान में एक और सांस्कृतिक अध्याय जुड़ गया है। मुझे विश्वास है कि आने वाले समय में यहां बड़ी संख्या में श्रद्धालु आएंगे। इससे यूएई आने वाले लोगों की संख्या भी बढ़ेगी और पीपल टू पीपल कनेक्ट भी बढ़ेगा। मैं पूरे भारत और विश्व भर में रहने वाले करोड़ों भारतवासियों की ओर से प्रेसिडेंट हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद को और यूएई सरकार को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। मैं आप सबसे प्रार्थना करता हूं, हम सब यूएई के प्रेसिडेंट को यहां से स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन दें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं यूएई के लोगों का भी उनके सहयोग के लिए हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। साथियों, भारत और यूएई की दोस्ती को आज पूरी दुनिया में आपसी विश्वास और सहयोग के एक उदाहरण के रूप में देखा जाता है। खासकर बीते वर्षों में हमारे संबंधों ने एक नई ऊंचाई हासिल की है, लेकिन भारत अपने इन रिश्तों को केवल वर्तमान संदर्भ में ही नहीं देखता। हमारे लिए इन रिश्तों की जड़ें हजारों साल पुरानी है। अरब जगत सैकड़ों वर्ष पहले भारत और यूरोप के बीच व्यापार में एक ब्रिज की भूमिका निभाता था। मैं जिस गुजरात से आता हूं, वहां के व्यापारियों के लिए, हमारे पूर्वजों के लिए तो अरब जगत व्यापारिक रिश्तों का प्रमुख केंद्र होता था। सभ्यताओं के इस समागम से ही नई संभावनाओं का जन्म होता है। इसी संगम से कला, साहित्य और संस्कृति की नई धाराएं निकलती है। इसलिए अबू धाबी में बना ये भव्य मंदिर इसलिए इतना महत्वपूर्ण है। इस मंदिर ने हमारे प्राचीन रिश्तों में नई सांस्कृतिक ऊर्जा भर दी है। साथियों, अबू धाबी का ये विशाल मंदिर केवल एक उपासना स्थली नहीं है, ये मानवता की साझी विरासत का, शेयर्ड हेरिटेज का प्रतीक है। ये भारत और अरब के लोगों के आपसी प्रेम का भी प्रतीक है। इसमें भारत यूएई के रिश्तों का एक आध्यात्मिक प्रतिबिंब भी है। इस अद्भुत निर्माण के लिए मैं बीएपीएस संस्था और उनके सदस्यों की सराहना करता हूं, हरिभक्तों की सराहना करता हूं। बीएपीएस संस्था के लोगों द्वारा, हमारे पूज्य संतों के द्वारा पूरे विश्व में मंदिर बनाए गए हैं। इन मंदिरों में जितना ध्यान वैदिक बारीकियों का रखा जाता है, उतनी ही आधुनिकता भी उसमें झलकती है। कठोर प्राचीन नियमों का पालन करते हुए आप आधुनिक जगत से कैसे जुड़ सकते हैं, स्वामीनारायण संन्यास परंपरा इसका उदाहरण है। आपका प्रबंध कौशल, व्यवस्था संचालन और उसके साथ साथ हर श्रद्धालु को लेकर संवेदनशीलता, हर कोई इससे बहुत कुछ सीख सकता है। ये सब भगवान स्वामीनारायण की कृपा का ही परिणाम है। मैं इस महान अवसर पर भगवान स्वामीनारायण के चरणों में भी प्रणाम करता हूं। मैं आप सभी को और देश विदेश के सभी श्रद्धालुओं को बधाई देता हूं। साथियों, ये समय भारत के अमृतकाल का समय है। ये हमारी आस्था और संस्कृति के लिए भी अमृतकाल का समय है। और अभी पिछले महीने ही अयोध्या में भव्य राम मंदिर का सदियों पुराना सपना पूरा हुआ है। रामलला अपने भवन में विराजमान हुए हैं। पूरा भारत और हर भारतीय उस प्रेम में, उस भाव में अभी तक डूबा हुआ है। और अभी मेरे मित्र ब्रह्मविहारी स्वामी कह रहे थे कि मोदी जी तो सबसे बड़े पुजारी है। मैं जानता नहीं हूं मैं मंदिरों की पुजारी की योग्यता रखता हूं या नहीं रखता हूं, लेकिन मैं इस बात का गर्व अनुभव करता हूं कि मैं मां भारती का पुजारी हूं। परमात्मा ने मुझे जितना समय दिया है उसकी हर पल, और परमात्मा ने जो शरीर दिया है उसका कण कण सिर्फ और सिर्फ मां भारती के लिए है। एक 140 करोड़ देशवासी मेरे आराध्य देव हैं। साथियों, अयोध्या के हमारे उस परम आनंद को आज अबू धाबी में मिली खुशी की लहर ने और बढ़ा दिया है। और मेरा सौभाग्य है ये कि मैं पहले अयोध्या में भव्य श्री राम मंदिर और फिर अब अबू धाबी में इस मंदिर का साक्षी बना है। साथियों, हमारे वेदों ने कहा है, एकम सत्य विप्रा बहुधा वदंती, एकम सत्य विप्रा बहुधा वदंती, अर्थात एक ही ईश्वर को, एक ही सत्य को विद्वान लोग अलग अलग तरह से बताते हैं। ये दर्शन भारत की मूल चेतना का हिस्सा है। इसलिए हम स्वभाव से ही न केवल सबको स्वीकार करते हैं, बल्कि सबका स्वागत भी करते हैं। हमें विविधता में बैर नहीं दिखता, हमें विविधता ही विशेषता लगती है। आज वैश्विक संघर्षों और चुनौतियों के सामने ये विचार हमें एक विश्वास देता है, मानवता में हमारे विश्वास को मजबूत करता है। इस मंदिर में आपको पग पग पर विविधता में विश्वास की ये झलक दिखेगी। मंदिर की दीवारों पर हिंदू धर्म के साथ साथ इजिप्ट की हायरोग्लिफ और बाइबल की, कुरान की कहानियां भी उकेरी गई है। मैं देख रहा था, मंदिर में प्रवेश करते ही वॉल ऑफ हार्मनी के दर्शन होते हैं। इसे हमारे बोहरा मुस्लिम समाज के भाइयों ने बनवाया है। इसके बाद इस बिल्डिंग का इंप्रेसिव 3D एक्सपीरियंस होता है। इसे पारसी समाज ने शुरू करवाया है। यहां लंगर की जिम्मेदारी के लिए हमारे सिख भाई बहन सामने आए हैं। मंदिर के निर्माण में हर धर्म और संप्रदाय के लोगों ने काम किया है। मुझे ये भी बताया गया है कि मंदिर के 7 स्तंभ या मीनारे यूएई के 7 अमीरात के प्रतीक है। यही भारत के लोगों का स्वभाव भी है। हम जहां जाते हैं वहां की संस्कृति को, वहां के मूल्यों को सम्मान भी देते हैं और उन्हें आत्मसात भी करते हैं। और ये देखना कितना सुखद है कि सबके सम्मान का यही भाव हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद के जीवन में भी साफ दिखता है। मेरे ब्रदर, मेरे मित्र, शेख मोहम्मद बिन जायद का भी विजन है, वी आर ऑल ब्रदर्स। उन्होंने अबू धाबी में हाउस ऑफ अब्राहम फैमिली बनाया। इस एक कॉम्प्लेक्स में मस्जिद भी है, चर्च भी है और सिनगॉग भी है। और अब अबू धाबी में भगवान स्वामीनारायण का ये मंदिर विविधता में एकता के उस विचार को नया विस्तार दे रहा है। साथियों, आज इस भव्य और पवित्र जगह से मैं एक और खुशखबरी देना चाहता हूं। आज सुबह यूएई के उपराष्ट्रपति हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद बिन राशिद ने दुबई में भारतीय श्रमिकों के लिए एक अस्पताल बनाने के लिए जमीन देने की घोषणा की है। मैं उनका और मेरे ब्रदर हिज हाइनेस शेख मोहम्मद बिन जायद का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। साथियों, हमारे वेद हमें सिखाते हैं कि समानो मंत्र समिति समानी समानम मनः सह चित्रम एषाम, अर्थात हमारे विचार एकजुट हो, हमारे मन एक दूसरे से जुड़े, हमारे संकल्प एकजुट हो। मानवीय एकता का यह आह्वान ही हमारे आध्यात्म का मूल भाव रहा है। हमारे मंदिर इन शिक्षाओं के, इन संकल्पों के केंद्र रहे हैं। इन मंदिरों में हम एक स्वर में ये घोष करते हैं कि प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो, विश्व का कल्याण हो। मंदिरों में वेद की जिन ऋचाओं का पाठ होता है वो हमें सिखाती हैं वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, अर्थात पूरी पृथ्वी ही हमारा परिवार है। इस विचार को लेकर आज भारत विश्व शांति के अपने मिशन के लिए प्रयास कर रहा है। भारत की प्रेसिडेंसी में इस बार G20 देशों ने वन अर्थ, वन फैमिली, वन फ्यूचर के संकल्प को और मजबूत बनाया है, आगे बढ़ाया है। हमारे ये प्रयास वन सन, वन वर्ल्ड, वन ग्रिड जैसे अभियानों को दिशा दे रहे हैं। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया का भाव लेकर भारत वन अर्थ, वन हेल्थ इस मिशन के लिए भी काम कर रहा है। हमारी संस्कृति, हमारी आस्था हमें विश्व कल्याण के इन संकल्पों का हौसला देती है। भारत इस दिशा में सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास के मंत्र पर काम कर रहा है। मुझे विश्वास है कि अबू धाबी के मंदिर की मानवीय प्रेरणा हमारे इन संकल्पों को ऊर्जा देगी, उन्हें साकार करेगी। इसी के साथ आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं। मैं इस भव्य दिव्य विशाल मंदिर को पूरी मानवता को समर्पित करता हूं। पूज्य महंत स्वामी के श्री चरणों में प्रणाम करता हूं। पूज्य प्रमुख स्वामी का पुण्य स्मरण करते हुए मैं श्रद्धापूर्वक नमन करता हूं और सभी हर भक्तों को जय श्री स्वामीनारायण।